I have them all here in this huge pile. So we can talk about them one after another. So let's turn them over so we can start with my newest one. So my newest one is this. It is Zapper Gear. The price tag, the book says $45. I bought it used for 34 or 33 or whatever from Amazon. I thought it was new, but it looked a bit used, so I would say it was used, but yeah. I love this book, but for sure, if you are interested in that book, you definitely have to be a Frank Zappa nerd. But even if you are not a Zappa nerd or whatever, I'm sure you could be interested in that book. He built a lot of cool tones with his guitars, and I think you would, and you could learn a lot about tones, how to use recording equipment. Even when it is old school, I think you can still learn something from it. I marked some things with a little piece of paper. I did this. So, to give you some insights on this book, for example, this page with some close-ups of Frank Zappa's Roxy SG and a lot of details about the story, where he bought it and everything. So pretty cool. A lot of cool shots. He had a break through the guitar and that was nearly unfixable, but he wanted to keep the guitar, so he let his tech put this mirror plate on the entire top of the guitar so that he can keep it. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Or his 79 Cherry Sunburst Les Paul custom with a lot of story here over the history of Les Paul customs. There was a lot of stuff in it that I didn't know before, and a lot of detail shots again. So pretty damn cool. Little insight on his pig nose amp. So that is pretty famous till today, and it's pretty affordable. I think it's about 150 or whatever, and it's a pretty good sounding amplifier. So, and more about his keys. So pretty vintage stuff and anything. But I really love this stuff. And about his studio stuff, for example, which programs did he use and which tools and everything. So it's pretty cool if you are a Frank Zappa and old school SG stuff or whatever, old school effects, old school recordings, keys, whatever. This book is for you. Summed up, you don't have to be a Zappa fan to love this book, so buy it. So the next book on the list, his guitarist presents the world's greatest electric guitars. So, yep, pretty cool book. Also, also this one, I bought it used for I think 30 or whatever. I think you can't buy that new, you have to buy it used. I will give you some photos from the inside of the book, but I just don't want to give you just the best or whatever, just something that I like. But there are a lot of awesome photos of awesome guitars, also owned by awesome guitar players, and but I don't want to take away this covering from you, so I just want to show you some of my favorite photos. Let's start with the first one that is killer. Let's check that out. First this side, I think that's how it could work. Yeah, detailed shot of Eddie Van Halen Frankenstein, or a photo of a Fender 50s broadcaster, original broadcaster with some text in it. There's a lot of stuff in it about not just Fender guitars, about every guitar. So, Gretsch, Ibanez, doesn't matter. And this is also pretty cool. It had a detailed shots of the Rory Gallagher Stratocaster. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff. One of my favorite Les Pauls, 1950s Les Paul Gold Top Original. That is my favorite version of an Les Paul. With the P90s and everything. Yeah, love that. And last, 1957 Chet Atkins Country Gentleman guitar. Yeah. There's always a text with it and some photos, detailed shots and whatever. So if you are in guitars in general, oh my god, you will love this book. Because there's a lot of story in it, awesome photos, and lots of texts and whatever. So yeah, pretty epic stuff. This is one of my favorites. Let's go to the next one. That is also a newer one. I try to show you something that is in it, but I can't tell you so much about it because I didn't read it already. First thing, it is a Fender Archives book by Tom Wheeler. Tom Wheeler wrote a lot of books about Fender, some kind of a legend. And the cool thing about this book, I also bought it used. I don't know if you can buy it already at some place or whatever. I think most of the books that I will show you, now the first 3 books, I think you have to buy them used, and the other ones not. The cool thing about this book, also about 35 or whatever, it's a scrapbook. So you have those tiny little boxes in here at the beginning, which includes some posters or whatever. Some kind of a Fender commercial poster. Yeah, or this Fender amplifier poster. With all these different amplifiers and whatever. And there's a lot of that in it. More posters about about Telecasters. So pretty cool stuff. There's a lot of that in it, not just at the front of the book, but I will show you in a minute. Let's see, what do we have here? Yeah, the first thing that I wanted to show you, if you haven't seen Leo Fender, that's Leo Fender. He's the man that invented Fender and the Stratocaster and the Telecaster and the Jazzmaster and whatever. So in the book you have those envelopes that you can open up, and there are all these candies in it, like price lists, photos or whatever, everything reproduction from Fender stuff that is important. Then we have this, for example, this is the beginning of the Telecaster. This is the first Esquire that was ever bought, one of the first Esquires, with a story and everything, so pretty cool. What else? Wrote Fullerton and amplifiers and everything. So I just can show you what it is, so I can't tell you more about it than showing you some pictures or whatever. And all those letters, for example, between Fender and Garage and CBS and everything. So all in general, the entire Fender story is in it. All these posters, lists, whatever, it's so awesome. I just took some posters and hang it on my wall. So huge schematics. This one is huge. Seems to be a huge wiring schematic. I mean, it's huge. Next book. And this is again a pretty Fender nerdy video, and this is also again a pretty Fender oriented book, but that is a pretty Fender oriented channel. I'm sorry. It is this one. Fender. It is a German book. Most of Fender's original title is somewhere in here. Fender, the sound heard round the world. That's the English title. I can show you a bit about this first prototype Esquire. Pretty cool, and the story about it. I love all that stuff. Pretty early photos from the Fender factory. So in love. one of the first Stratocasters that the Fender ever had on his bench. It seems to be a black one. Could be the one that Joe Bonamassa owns. Because he said in one of his Nerdville videos that he owns one of the first, or the first, black Stratocaster. Yeah, commercials that are pretty fun. For example, this small one here, you won't be apart with yours either. And he's jumping with his jazz master on his back. I really love that. Or this guy's his pilot with his guitar on his back. So it's pretty fun stuff. The commercials are super good. Yeah, about amplifiers, everything. I really love this book, but I'm a huge Fender nerd, so that's why. And the last one on the list, and that is a book that I think that every guitarist need, because sometimes I repair guitars for my students or friends or whatever. So and I realized that a lot of times people come to me and ask me, can I do intonation on their guitars, or can I do a setup on their guitars? So they not familiar using their truss rod, because a lot of times when I was younger, I thought the same way, because everyone told you don't use your truss rod at home, always bring it to a luthier, and I was like, okay. Now I know how to set up a guitar, dealing with the electronics, but there are so many things that are pretty simple to learn, so you can do it on your own. Because you always want to have this freedom that you can repair your stuff on your own. So be your own guitar tech. Maybe not already. It is Dan Erlewine Guitar Player Repair Guide. That is the book that every guitarist should own. It says new, it is 35. So everything here is about 35 bucks. So, but there's everything in it that you will ever need to maintenance your guitars or repair stuff on your guitar or whatever. I mean, if it is a hard repair job, I also bring it to a luthier, because I'm not a luthier. But you don't need to be a luthier to set up your guitar, to give it a basic setup, to lower your tremolo system, bring it down from a floating tremolo to the bridge, give it a hardtail or whatever. I did it to my Stratocaster. It will change the sound, or bring it back up. How do you shake the truss rod? How do you know if your string height is good without some kind of a ruler gauge or I don't know. So all of that is in that book. So I will give you some examples. For example, the basics of setup. There's everything that you need, the tools, how you do it, everything for a basic setup that is in this book. Then you can do it on your own. I mean, the book is 35, the setup of a guitar is 75 or whatever each time. So if you learn it to do it on your own, you will save a lot of money. Next thing, acoustic body repairs, for example. How you fill little cracks, or how do you deal with clamps and loops and whatever. Everything is in this book, so it's so awesome. Here, refretting. How do you refret your guitar? And this is also something that everyone tells you, you can do it on your own. I mean, for sure, don't practice it on your 1K guitar. Go, I don't know, go out, buy a shitty neck, pull out the frets, hammer out the frets, and train it or practice it on that neck. Maybe not on the most expensive guitars that you have at home. So, but you can practice it, and the book will help you. And if you don't know who Dan Erlewine is, check out StewMac on YouTube, and they will help you also with videos. But we also have a DVD in here to explain a lot that is in this book. So do it, buy it. It is super good and super important. Guitar electronics. Tools that you need for electronics works. That is all written down here. All the tools that you need. Just photos of the tools that you need and how you use them and everything, which pods. And last thing, basic tool list. That is super good, super cool. And I mean that is a list. Check this out. It starts here. It goes over here. It tells you how to use it. Everything. From all the 5, I mean there are books that I like because they tell me a lot about guitars. And I mean I'm a guitar nerd under the sun. So I'm a Zappa nerd, I love Frank Zappa. But this is a guitar book that you need. The other thing is optional. If you don't like Zappa, don't check it out. If you're not a guitar nerd or a Fender nerd, you don't have to buy these 3. That are my favorite 5 ones. That's it for the video. I hope you liked it. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, whatever. So also check out my Instagram. That's it. Write it down in the comments below. Which are your 5 books? And thank you. Even when we're a small channel, we don't have so many subs already, or so far. I really love it. So, we'll see you next time.